going to hear that recording. I've got some questions for you guys as people are trickling in. I really want to hear from the community, and I think that the community and all of you guys want to hear from each other. So this is a hand raising feature. As I ask questions, please raise your hand and I'll call on you to answer. I would love your participation. If you're uncomfortable, you can direct message me your answer, or you don't have to answer. You can just listen in. But lending your knowledge and your experience is really helpful, not only for the people that are here, but also for the people that we broadcast this to, several thousands of people across our platform. So I have 15 questions, and I'm going to randomly select someone to tell me what number, 1 through 15. I'm going to choose Elena.
7.
Lucky number 7. I really thought that was going to go first. Yeah. Okay. So what is something you're excited about coming up in your future? Tell us something exciting that's going on in your world.
I'm going to Florida for a leadership conference at the end of this month, and I'm excited to get out of the gray and the cold of Michigan for a week.
Yeah, that's going to be nice and uplifting. A little recharge.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. What part?
Charlotte Harbor? I think that's right.
Yeah, I never heard of it.
North of Fort Myers.
Okay. On the West Coast.
Yes. Coast. West Coast, like the inner, yeah.
Nice. And you're out of hurricane season, so you're good. Who else wants to tell me something that they're looking forward to, something exciting in your future? I want several answers to these questions because I know you people have things that are exciting going on. Go ahead and just unmute Katie.
Sorry, I'm on my phone because my computer wouldn't update. I get to go to the New Jersey camp next weekend. I'm sad that Elena is unfortunately can't go, but
can you tell people about that camp in case they're interested?
So the women's team is having a come learn to play amputee soccer, and it's in New Jersey. And Elena, if I'm missing anything, feel free to help me out because you know me with details and stuff. And it's the 19th through the 21st.
Yeah, I actually just got off the call with Nico yesterday.
See, Nico, I know him.
Amputee soccer is really blowing up in this country, and they're starting to try to build out their New England division, and specifically where I'm from, New Hampshire. So if anybody here knows folks that want to play soccer, they do blind, they do neuromuscular, they have amputee soccer, and it's a pretty cool opportunity, upper and lower. They can put you to use. There's different positions on the field, but if you guys are ever interested, you can send me a message and just know my email. I'll put it in the chat because I do have some giveaways later that you're going to have to claim by emailing me. It's really easy. It's just Tina, my name, at Less Leg More Heart, my organization.com. All right. So anybody else? I want some more exciting stuff. That's super cool, Katie.
Thanks.
Come on. I'm going to call on you randomly. No, I'll tell you something. Oh, we got Sam. What do you got?
My wife and I decided we're going to run our very first half marathon this fall.
How awesome.
Do a challenge of 10K and half marathon for Run Disney. So yeah.
And you're a below the knee amputee.
Yep.
And so what are you using for a running blade?
Levitate.
Awesome. Yeah, you're going to be, there's flames coming out of that thing when you run, right?
That's right. Yeah. So we did
awesome.
Past November did a 5K and a 10K. So
good for you.
So
how did, for other people that are listening in, how did your other leg hold up? The strain on your native leg?
So it was actually since of the height, it was a little bit strained on my foot, my meat foot side, just in that not used to that.
Yeah.
And so just kind of the height wise, but after a while I kind of got used to that, and as I was training. So
your knee and ankle and all of that, at the time of the run, were they recovered okay?
Yeah, completely fine.
Are you using orthotic insoles?
At the time I didn't, but I've heard other people actually mention that.
Yeah.
So I probably should.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter for PK or a bilateral, excuse me, but for anybody that's an above the knee or below the knee leg amputee, really invest in a pair of insoles to save the ground force shock that's occurring. I love A-Line. They're the technology behind A-Line is pretty awesome. And they actually have 3 or 4 different versions you can order online. And they're a decent price, but they are worth it. And if anyone ever had an affordability issue, of course, you can email me, and pending our recreational funding, we'd be happy to help you. But get orthotics because it definitely saves things. Thank you for that. Who else has something exciting? Yeah, Craig, what's up?
starting in February at one of the almost like the biggest hospital we have here in Little Rock, Arkansas. I'm going to be doing speaking type events. I don't know if you call them events, but probably about 3 times on Saturdays I'll go into the hospital and speak to amputees on one particular subject. Even though I address and counsel about on an average between 2 or 3 hospitals, I probably counsel about 20 amputees a month, with a couple of other ambassadors in another organization that I'm vice president of. This will give me the opportunity to just like go in and spend an hour or two talking on maybe just phantom pain or maybe just depression instead of, a lot of different subjects. So I'm looking forward to that.
That's amazing, Craig. And you're such a great resource. He is one of the Amputee Coalition representatives for his state. We actually met, for a fun fact, at the Amputee Coalition Conference. Our organization sponsors people to go every year. We sponsored 8 people this past summer, and we're going to sponsor hopefully a dozen this summer. If that's something you're interested in, make sure you email me. But we met, and he was in one of my seminars that I was speaking about in self-advocacy. And like after his first question, I'm like, I need to know you. Hang out after class.
That's true. That is true. That is true.
You're wonderful. That's really cool.
All right, thank you.
We're lucky to have you.
Yes.
Anybody else here? Something exciting you want to share with the group? Yeah, go ahead, Anthony.
So I learned recently that I'm going to be receiving a BioAdapt foot.
Nice.
That's going to help me push myself further in snowboarding, and it's going to get me out to Breckenridge next year for the Ski Spectacular so I can qualify for the Paralympic team.
Congratulations.
Wow. Anthony, that's awesome. Yeah, I just reached out to their company to talk about their BioAdapt and their VersaFoot. That's rad. And Anthony, by the way, we took him surfing last summer, and he literally jumped on never did it before, jumped on the board and like shredded a wave all the way to the shore.
I can't wait to do it with the BioAdapt foot this year.
Is it waterproof?
I think so. Yeah, I'm going to try it. So.
Didn't you do a backflip off the surfboard?
Yep.
No big deal.
Yeah, no big deal. I'm going for the backflips on the snowboard this time.
You're just amazing. And also, I know good spinal cord injury organizations, God forbid you ever needed it, Anthony. Don't get too crazy. You got a kid. We got to be careful and protect our bodies. Who else has something fun to share? Anything exciting coming up? All right, I'll be the last share. I am turning 40 in February on Valentine's Day, and I'm psyched about this next decade because I don't know about anybody else. I like to look at things through an optimistic lens, but I had a lot of challenges in the last decade. Like got married, got a house, lost my leg, lost the marriage, had to sell the house, reorganize all of my life, like a lot of hardship, a lot of great things that I learned. And I'm so grateful now for where I'm at, but I'm excited for like all the things that I learned now to build me into a really exciting 40th year. Anybody here at or above 40 that feels like it's better as you're getting older? Yeah. Okay, good. I'm not alone. Anybody feel it's worse as you're getting older? Dang it. It's an even split. Well, you guys have to message me offline because I'll need some of your wisdom then. All right. I would like to pick somebody to tell me a number 1 through 15. Ariel, it's so good to see you. Tell me a number 1 through 15, not 7.
5.
Okay. What is the hardest part of being an amputee, Ariel?
Relearning everything.
Yeah, that's a big one. It's a big one. Anybody else have a feeling about like one of the hardest things in the loss journey? I will say while you guys are thinking, and please just raise your hand either in person or on the screen when you have an answer. But in the beginning, before I got to a place of acceptance about my loss, my physical loss, it was really hard for me to manage all of the staring, like going everywhere and never being able to just blend in and having people invasively ask questions about what had happened to me when I was still grieving and coping. And I felt like it was so bold for them to ask questions when they didn't know me, like standing in the line at the pharmacy. And I felt like it was really selfish of them to try to pacify their curiosity at the expense of like opening an emotional wound. Did anyone else feel that way? Can I show of hands? Yeah. Okay. So that's common. Anybody else? What's like something hard? One of the hardest things. Go ahead. Yep, Greg.
Jeff.
Jeff with a G. That's right. Sorry.
Yes.
Go ahead,
Hey,
Jeff. Sorry.
I actually had that same experience. I just went to Disneyland and I had a mother drag her kids over and stand in front of me and say, "Tell me what this is. Tell me why you have it. Tell me what's going on." Um, I prefer to wear shorts though. I prefer to open that conversation. So for me, it's that heart on a sleeve, always expressing my emotions. I'm sitting here crying, it's just the way it is for me. But
Do you feel like you felt that way right away, or did you have to get to a place where you were wearing shorts?
I did feel that way right away. I actually haven't worn real pants ever. My wife saw me in some jeans the other day and I'm like, wow, just had to take a second look.
Ladies and
Um,
gentlemen, you heard him admit here today he's not wearing pants to the Zoom.
yeah. Anyway, but for me, like the really hard thing is getting the motivation to just get up. I sometimes I just look at the assistive devices like the crutches, the wheelchairs, the leg, and I resent them, and I think about how my life used to be, and you know, making making time to set aside, maybe an hour to an hour and a half for a shower. Before, when I would go to bed, it would take about like maybe 5 minutes, brush your teeth, get out and get in bed, and I'm out, right? And now it's like a whole chore. It's a whole process. So there's always a thought of what's going on and what needs to be done.
No, thank you. I mean, that's huge. And I see everybody in this chat like nodding along with you because it's so true. It's like you can't just get up and go. You can't just get in the shot. Like there has to be, you have to like make sure that you've staged things and you have your stuff with the leg appropriate and you're not going to fall. Like it's a whole situation and it can be daunting. And so a lot of people, it's easy to get down. It's easy to forego your personal hygiene just for the sake of convenience. And also sometimes sitting naked with yourself in a shower, staring at the residual limb can be kind of like it's a forced moment for people in a quiet space of solitude to have to address the thing that maybe they've been not addressing or running from, and it can be a really overwhelming emotional moment too in the beginning of their coping. And so I can totally relate to that. Thank you.
And that's day after day, right? Like every day you sit down and you look at it, right?
You're Sisyphus, right? Just like pushing a rock up the mountain to do it over again the next day.
Yep. One thing that was freeing and really helpful was a shower leg. I took one of my old legs and the prosthetist said, let's hook up a few parts and now I can stand in the shower. I mean, there's nothing more freeing than being able to just walk into a shower and stand, and the chair's still there, but
Yeah, and I think that people really don't, unless you've lived this journey or you have a loved one intimately that like you've seen have to go through these things, there's so much humility to like you're already dealing with grieving with the loss. Maybe you had cancer, maybe you had a motor vehicle accident. A lot of people lose their spouses in car accidents. Maybe you had a terrible diagnosis. Like you're in the process of emotional grief. Now you're having to physically relearn everything. A fun fact for you guys is that a below the knee amputee requires 30% more for total energy expenditure to walk around through their day than a normal able-bodied two-legger. And it's 60% for one single side above the knee. If you have a bilateral, it's summative. So two bilaterals below the knee to get through their day requires 60% more, 30 on each leg. And an above the knee, bilateral above the knees that are walking, superheroes, because it's 120% more total energy expenditure that they require just to do things. And so you're exhausted and you're grieving, and now you have to do all this extra stuff, right? It's overwhelming and it's hard to get up and force yourself to see the good side and think about the things you're grateful for. And honestly, I believe in my journey, and I wonder if you guys can resonate by this with a show of hands. The only difference between my easily feeling like a victim and suffering perpetually in this journey and trying to and thriving in some senses was my perspective about my circumstance. Do you guys believe that? Any show of hands here? Yeah. And that is within your own control, right? Like that's what you have power over. And that's hopefully the type of environment that we're hoping to create. But that is not to negate the fact that like you can't always be there, and you're not going to always be there. I have several amputees. I mean, we've served more than 300 amputees in 5 years. We had 75 new amputees last year. And so many people will come in and they're like, I was doing so well. And then all of a sudden I fell. And now I'm back in this rut. Anybody else had like this crazy rut after doing good and you're restarting again? And then you're like doing good again. And then it happens again. And it's like, how many cycles of that until you're just really feeling exhausted. And I think that the biggest key to that is being able to find the strength in vulnerability and ask for help and let people know that you need them. And so that for me was big as well, which again is a big slice of humble pie, right? It's just like we're noshing on it all day. What do you got, Craig?
I definitely want to say that the gentleman that is talking with the headphones on, I really like the fact that he said what he said because counseling so many amputees over the past 5 years that I've been doing that, and you start adding up the numbers with about 25 amputees every month over 5 years. You've heard a lot, and fortunately and also unfortunately, whenever you go through what Tina was talking about, the staring and all that, bad as I hate to say it, I make a lot of amputees laugh whenever I'm talking to them. If I'm doing a Zoom meeting or whatever, I say, unfortunately, I'm 6'8", and if I stand up, you'll be doing a Zoom meeting with my belly button. But I've been had people staring at me for quite a long time. But I have had a lot of amputees talk about that, where what happened to me is when I first became an amputee, I had a problem with everybody knowing that I was an amputee, trying to deal with that. I did 30 years on one job when I was 17 years old. I went to a doctor's appointment and I thought I was going to work the next day. It was just a normal doctor's appointment, and got told that I was going to have an amputation. I wasn't even going to work the next day. And the rug being snatched out from under me was very, very devastating, and that was emotionally. I cried quite a bit, uh, developing charcoal and wearing that crow boot for 2 years, and I cried over 2 years quite a bit, and that was hard for me to get over.
And
So
you had a good support system in your wife, right?
absolutely, absolutely. We've been married 31 years, and that was a lot to deal with. But the one thing that I definitely wanted to pass on to everybody is that I worked with a company. I also am a where doctors come in, and I do test sockets and all that to show them how prosthetics are made and all that. And I'm work with Snell Prosthetics out of Little Rock, Arkansas, and I think they've been doing prosthetics. Frank Snell has been doing prosthetics since his family, the 1900s. I mean, they've been doing prosthetics that long. But I was going to pass on to everybody that they should start checking with their prosthetists, because I believe that Congress got it passed in a bill probably mid-year of last year, where the insurance companies will now begin to start doing the 80-20 thing, or whatever the percentage that you have on your insurance to pay for a shower leg. And they kind of put that in as a rider or whatever, on a piggybacking something that was going on in Congress for kids getting prosthetics. And it finally got passed, because a shower leg will cost you out of pocket anywhere from $3,000 to $4,000. And he was saying that, I think Tina might know also, if you get a bill or something passed in Congress, it may take 2 or 3 months for it to actually jump, get going. And I think he said that it should be up and running about August or July of last year. So
Oh, brother,
he was like, whenever I do my meetings and stuff, kind of pass along to
thank you.
amputees that they are now paying for a percentage on your insurance for a shower leg. And that's big for self-esteem reasons and everything that the wonderful
Yeah.
gentleman there with the
But
headphones
Craig,
was
you make a
saying.
good point, right? It's like just because we're living in a confined set of standards,
Yeah,
insurance wise, mechanically, technology wise, every quarter, every year, like things are emerging, things are changing, things are
yeah,
developing. And it's like you have to stay. So we talked about, right, the exhaustion, the fatigue, and all the things that are hard every day,
yeah,
but add to your list to continue to check in with your insurance and check in with your teams, because you never know what's available that could, like you said, save you the difference between, your mortgage for the month or
yeah.
not.
But
Yeah,
to say
great.
that, I would actually like to look at Tina and say thank you for doing this, what you're doing right now, because without this type of stuff, we wouldn't know it. We have to get together and share our knowledge and all that. And and she provides us with a platform and a lot of information that is just not out here, So I know it's not out there through all the counseling and stuff I do. And so what she is doing with this platform is really big, because if you stop and think about it, after you leave the hospital rehab, she knows herself, unless you get hooked up with a platform as such or any other, there's really no
Yeah.
information out there other
Thank
than
you, Craig. I'll
something that's
piggyback on what you're saying, and I always
yeah,
appreciate your kind words. Your praise means a lot to me. And we'll move on to the other questions. But
yeah.
if anybody is in need of help, you have questions, you don't know what you don't know, anything, you can go to leslegmoreheart.com. There's a contact section, and there's a form called Amputee in Need. And you can just say, want to be part of the family. Like, keep me abreast of things that are happening. Or you can write a specific question. Craig and a whole team of people that we have will be able to help you. We try to help funding as much as we get funding that comes in. There's really a lot that we can do, and that would be your way to link into stuff. Thank you, Craig. Jeff, what do you got? Oh, I think you're on mute, sweetie. Got to hit that microphone button. Looks like you're in the right area. While you're going to, oh,
Right
yeah.
there. Hey,
Oh,
whole part eyes. Within my world, the partial hand, everyone looks at it as such a small, minor thing. But okay, I'm missing 3 fingers. I have my prosthesis that I wear all the time. But because of no touch sensation, I always have to look at my hand to make sure I got things grasped good. And it's such a mental battle. You know, there's the statement out there, keep your eye on the ball. Well, can't
I
bounce.
think you're breaking up. We're having a hard time hearing you. You'll have to jump on, Craig. Jeff, we're only hearing pieces. We're only hearing pieces of what you're saying, so I'm going to mute you, and I want you to write in, if you're able to, with your other hand, text in the chat what you were going to say, because we're hearing garbled speech. But I really look forward to hearing that. And you're right. People, minimize. It's not just you, but it's very easy to look with your eyes at a thing gone and be like, well, that's not a ton, right? Like a transmetatarsal amputation or a Symes amputation must be less significant than a below the knee amputation because it's more distal. Well, maybe that person has a crazy neuroma, or maybe they have incredible phantom pain, or maybe they went through a profound trauma that plagues them with PTSD that like literally affects every day of their life. We just never know. And I think that that's a great point to bring up and we know it in our community, but having one of the hardest parts to me, going back on the last question, was I had to really learn to be okay with people's ignorance, not even in the negative sense, like maliciously. They don't know, and their scale of relativity is very different from ours. And so having to manage the ignorance in a graceful way and not be angry by it was really hard in the beginning. Go ahead, Candace.
Yes. Hey, Miss Tina. Haven't talked to you in a while. I have a birthday coming up too on the 22nd of January.
Happy birthday early.
Thank you. And also I just now started back working part-time after 3 years. Because I got sick with a bacterial infection in October 2020, and I was in the hospital from October 2020 to May 1st, 2021. I was on a ventilator and all that and in a coma for about 2 weeks. Almost didn't make it. I had to learn how to walk again, and it just came as I walked in the hospital, but I didn't walk out. So
yeah, I know your story is you're so courageous and brave, and the things you've been through are wild, and your faith is beautiful, and you're so luminous every time we talk. It's I think that makes the difference between feeling accomplished in this journey despite the hardship is the way, like we said, you're able to change that narrative and
yeah. And I have my days sometimes,
Sure.
Where I don't, feel like getting up out the bed. Because I also have other health issues, besides the amputation. So I had to get a below the knee amputation plus my 3 fingers amputated on my left hand and my middle toe on my right foot. So yeah. But
well, I'm
here.
Family, we're always here for you. Thank you so much for your comment. I want to ask one of these questions. I have a certain thing that I say, I love when kids come up to my leg. Adults need to learn from kids, right? Like just
they do. Yes.
open-hearted, kind curiosity. But when kids come over, my son's 3 years old and he goes to daycare. And so every time I go in to get my son, all the kids that are there like circle up and they think I'm like a superhero and they like call it a robot leg. And like a lot of them ask me, and they're 3, like, what happened to your leg? Well, I'm not going to tell them that I have a profoundly awful and rare vascular disease and it causes me pain all the time and the doctor had to cut my leg. Like, how do you guys, or how have you phrased the things that you've gone through in your amputation to children? I'll tell you that mine is, while you're thinking, I always say my leg or my foot wasn't fast enough and it didn't jump high enough. So when I went to my doctor, he gave me one that goes faster and jumps higher. And they literally go, oh, like there's no more questions, right? They just are like, that seems reasonable. Does anybody else have anything that they've said to kids? And Lena, I know you've got children, so you might have something. No? Go ahead.
Not really. I love what you say. That's fun. I usually just like keep it to the facts and very basic. I say I had a bone disease. I spent a lot of my life trying to keep my leg and it just wasn't possible anymore. And now I have I do say something like, now I have a better one that works better for me.
Yeah.
I also try to keep it positive.
Yes. I also have told them that I got into a match. I won't say fight. I got into a match with Superman. And then his powers gave me a leg. Like sometimes it's so random, doesn't make any sense, but they're like, they hear Superman and powers and they're like, oh, okay.
What I usually find is like kids will come up to me and say, you're part robot, aren't you? And I will be like, yes, I am. So I just affirm what they already like have dreamed up. They will come up and tell me what happened to me. And I just go, yeah, totally.
Yeah, that's incredible. They have the best imaginations. Craig, did you have something?
Yes, I've actually told children before that I've lost it and I went back to find it and I couldn't find it. And then what I've done also is I take advantage of Halloween and I have another prosthetic. As you get prosthetics, and I get an old one that might have been bigger. And I was over my sister's house and I was like, oh man, my leg is really hurting. And the kids gathered around to see what was wrong with it. And when I took my residual limb out of the socket, I had candy in it. And they were like, you have see I'm talking about.
I would kill to see a photo of their
They
faces.
blew them away, and I was like, "Oh my God!" They poured candy out of the socket today. When I'm talking about, they were blown. When they're still talking about it.
Ariel, can you top that?
I just tell them that I'm Iron Man's daughter.
Nice.
That's it.
That's a great one. Candace, did you have one, or is your hand just up still? I think your hand's just still up. That's okay. I'll put it down. Anybody else have anything fun they say to kids? No? Okay. Well, speaking about stories, you were talking about how kids will like dream up a story that happened to you. I know that all of us at least have thought about telling other people a story about how they lost their limb. So I have a hard time getting through it with a straight face, but I have done tons of different things just to see how it sits, just because it's more fun than I have a weird vascular condition and my arteries are trapped behind my knees. That's so boring. So I have said, this is funny. So you're talking about an amputation. So people are like bewitched by like this wild thing that's different about you. So kind of like the words you say are Charlie Brown teacher sometimes. So in order to see if they're paying attention to what's happening in my verbal situation versus they're just like staring at the leg and like using the question as a way to like stare at the leg, I'll say, I was skydiving and a bird flew through me, my leg, and I got swine flu. First of all, if you know anything, a swine is a pig.
Right.
And then almost every person I've said this to will be shocked and then apologize and be like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
And that makes sense, right? But I didn't get through sharp by with a straight face. Has anyone else said anything wild and hysterical about how they lost? Oh, of course, Zach. Of course. What do you got?
All right. I have a ton.
Oh, I can't wait.
So my friends and I, we go to the theme parks on a weekly basis. And so I get asked all the time. And so I always make up stuff and always use everybody else's. And so one is like, for vacations, cost an arm and a leg. I was able to negotiate, of course.
Hey.
And of course, one of my favorite ones was like you go, to a surf shop, and you go to like the rentals, you go to like the tourists, like, oh, where you going surfing? Oh, you're going to that beach. Oh, that's where the shark got me. Well, have fun. I've done that. And then then
like
I've
that.
done where like I've gone to a ride where there's a ride in Disney called Tower of Terror where
Yeah.
you drop. And so I've actually taken off my leg right before you get off. And so then I'll take it off, get it handed to like, either my wife or like one of my friends, you know, and so when the cast member, you know, greets you, I'll say, "Oh, where's my leg? Where's my leg? Where's my leg?" And so then the cast member will just be completely terrified.
So you go for like the horror part of this whole thing.
Not really. Just like I'll just make jokes.
No, in a funny way. Like you're
Yeah, in a
induced.
funny way, yeah.
There's a little recreational anxiety to the use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like I'll say like I played extreme hokey pokey. I didn't know it was an extreme sport. There's
I'm gonna
that.
use
And
that
there's-
one. That's great.
Yeah. So yeah.
Thank
There's a whole
you. All
bunch.
right, Ms. Bondi, you got something, Katie?
I told the kids I didn't wear my helmet riding my bike.
Wow, you're inducing safety in kids. I love that. A little psychological manipulation goes a long way with parenting and just overall coaching, I found as a parent. Anybody else here a parent and agree? A little bit of manipulation. Okay, yeah. What do you got, Holly?
Hey, it's been a
Hi.
while.
Good to see you.
My funny, I live on a lake. I lost my leg in a boating accident, 43.
Ooh,
Wait, you got muted.
Holly, you're muted, sweetie. I don't know what happened. Hit it again. I hope it wasn't me. It might have been
That
me.
doesn't matter. I think it's from I'm used to working on another Zoom session. So it's
Okay, so
been,
you said you
anyway,
want
so I'll start over. Okay, so I don't know. I don't think you heard anything. So I was below the knee. I was in a boating accident in 1980. So I've been an amputee for 43 years, and now I've been above the knee since 1988. But I live on a lake, and since I was in a boating accident, I still water ski and wave runner and all that junk. And so when I'm out on my wave runner and I'm tied up with a bunch of friends and I have my leg on, I just pop it off, and sometimes because I have the sea knee, can't get wet. So we just start passing that puppy over everybody's heads to get it back over to the boat, get it off the wave runner, and somebody will always say, "So what happened?" I'm like, "Got run over by a boat." Oh, no
Everyone's like
way.
putting on their jackets, their life safety devices.
So it gets conversation started. It's fun. After 43 years, I don't think there's a story I hadn't told. But
Love
thank
that.
you. And hey, this is awesome. And I just wanted to say thank you so much. I'm babysitting my grandchild, and so I'm gonna have to jump and run.
Well, Holly, you'll miss our giveaways, but stay in touch.
Okay. Y'all have a
Okay.
great meeting.
It was
Nice
good
to
to
see
see
you.
you. Good to see you, Holly.
Thank you.
Speaking
All right.
of passing a leg, at the gala that our organization just hosted in December, one of our games for everybody, like you want things to be memorable, right? So one of the games that we hosted at the gala was we had tables, all like 15 of the tables, pass a prosthetic leg around the table to Footloose. And then whoever it ended on got the centerpiece to take home.
Footloose. Okay.
We're
All
running
right.
shorter on time, but I have a couple of quick questions. Do me a favor and answer any of these three questions. So raise your hand if you have an answer or a comment to any of the next three questions. We'll kind of keep it more broad. As an amputee, what is something that you never leave home without? What is an amputee related product or device that you recommend? And then the last one is, what is a number one tip for a new amputee? So tips for amputees, what do you not leave home without? And what's a product or a device that you would recommend to the community? Yeah, go ahead, Craig.
First thing I would say, well, a tip would be patience. The first thing I usually tell amputees is don't get caught up in what somebody else has going on. And if you would do me a favor, just take your time, patience and time.
Yeah. So it's so true. Thank you for saying that. And just to piggyback on that, before we get another hand raised on any of these topics, I was told that I was going to walk when I was an amputating surgeon, and this is going to let you guys know a little bit behind the curtain, which is why I've started this organization, because it's a little concerning. There was no real medical curriculum surrounding limb loss, aside from how to take the leg off, literally. I was told they go to a prosthetist and I write a referral. I know everything about the limb, anatomically, physiologically, and surgically, and wound care. And then from there, I know they get a prosthetic. I don't really know anything about it. I don't know about the surgical approach that I have and the interface that it makes with the amputation and pros and cons to where the scar tissues might reside or what the limb length advantages could have been. Nobody trained us for that in school, and a lot of our attending surgeons didn't even know. People would come in with prosthetic concerns to my appointment because I took the leg off, and they would ask me a question related to prosthetics and gait, and I would punt them back to their physical therapist or to their prosthetist because I'm not the person to answer that. Well, shouldn't I have some cross training in some of that stuff and not like make a patient that's already mobility restricted come out to me just to punt them out to someone else that they're going to wait several weeks to go see? How many people here by a raise of hand have been bounced around by providers like that and waited weeks, months to see the next person? Brutal, right? So they don't know. And so I was told I was going to I was going to walk within 3 months. Your limb is healed and residual soft tissue and bone is ready to bear weight. I didn't walk for 18 months. And that set up a huge landscape of depression and all the other stuff that comes along with that, because everybody's scene is different. And that to be said, as a pearl of wisdom, if you're not getting where you need to get a second opinion sooner than 18 months. That's something that I will mention. Katie, what do you got?
Is she muted?
I had to find the unmute. Kind of like to piggyback what you said. When I went through OSU Medical Center for my amputation, and they actually gave us a pamphlet of like what to expect with your amputation, and that actually really helped. It was like, here are your stages you're gonna be with, and it's you should probably be walking within this unless this happens. You should be seeing your prosthesis in this time unless this happens. You should be looking at this unless this happens. So that at least helped me. Something I don't leave without is probably like a socket wrench or a hex screw, just in case I need to fix something.
How many people get stopped by TSA if they travel and that gets pulled out every time?
Oh, I
Yeah.
travel with Q. She's at basketball practice, by the way. And they're just like, what do you need that for? And I'm like, I don't know, maybe to fix my leg. Do you want to hold it? Like, I'm the worst
Is that
to
before
travel.
or after they're palpating the metal of your leg, asking you if anything hurts?
I go, hey, let's make this weird. And do you really need to touch that? Or my favorite is when I don't have my leg on and I'm like, wait, you missed my ankle. Come BK. And then they have no idea how to respond to it. So I make their life a living hell, and it's
I
great.
love this topic thread. Craig, I don't know if it's related to that, but I'm going to add a fourth question that anybody can answer in the series of things we're doing for the next few minutes, and pepper in your TSA experiences. Oh, I got some good ones. Go ahead, Craig.
I was gonna say that the word that I was looking for, piggybacking again, was patient model. When I was asked to be the patient model by Frank Snell, I didn't know what that was. And when he said that there's new surgeons coming in and they want to see how a prosthetic is made, I was like, you mean to tell me they're amputating legs and don't even know how a prosthetic is made? And that was just flooring to me. So that's the word that I was looking for. I also do patient model and work like that. And I was also going to say to Katie and ask Katie, did she remember me? Because when the Amputee Coalition had COVID going on, I did the virtual thing. And when she said riding a bike, I remember talking to her whenever I talked about riding a bike, and my wife had bought me a trainer and doing Zwift. And when she said that, I remembered speaking with her and another gentleman. So it is so wonderful to see you.
Yeah, I had my amputation May of 2022. So it might have been with something when I had my legs.
Yeah. Okay.
I
It's good
love
to
that.
see you,
It's a
though.
small world, right? It's like once we,
Yeah.
it's a small world. When we
Well,
get
yeah,
into
that
it.
patient model thing it's amazing how she turns around
Yeah.
and says that. I thought that surgeons just knew it from one spectrum all the way to the other. And when I found out that a lot of them didn't even know how prosthetics were made and they're doing amputations, just
Yeah.
blew me away.
I got a couple of fun TSA things too while you guys are thinking about any of those questions. Remember that they are, what is some tips for amputees? I know that you guys have some tips, whether it's like a functional tip or it's a mental tip, whatever you've got. did I say? What you never leave home without? I see a lot of people in the comment section saying you never leave home without socks. That is so true, man. That's a bummer. And your bones will get banged up from pistoning and bell clapping. I have a go bag. I don't know if you guys have like a go bag where I've got like my tools. I've got some extra like electric tape. I have some like waterproof. Do you guys ever heard of, by a show of hands, Pro Armor?
No.
Pro Armor is a New Zealand company that makes waterproof foot and pylon covers. It's made by an amputee out there, and they have one that has a sole on it, so that if you want to barefoot walk in the beach or around surfaces, that it has that slight incline that a sneaker would have, so that you don't have to worry about that flat foot when you take off your shoe. And they also have a non-sole model that actually goes in the shoe, and it functions like a waterproof sock that goes high up, and you can actually tape the top of it. I've taken that thing surfing to the beach. It doesn't get like, it stops sand from getting in your foot shells and all over the place. It's called Pro Armor, PRO-ARMOUR, Pro Armor. It's a really good product, and the price point, in my opinion, is awesome. So that's something to look into. But in terms of TSA, I could ramble on all night. Tips for amputees. Elena dropped some knowledge bombs in the comment here. Oh, what was the last question? Thank you. Keep me on track. I've had a long day of travel. What was it? Something that you wish you knew.
I think you did it with the tips for amputees, best product for amputees, and what do you leave home without? I was trying to think of the questions, and then you
this as my eyes are fatiguing. It's like I need to do digital next time. Hal's probably Hal's in your tech world. You're probably like, Tina, you can optimize this so good. We can have an side conversation about this. So TSA, right? I get to TSA. Or I get to the airport and I require mobility services, because in order for me to travel with a 3-year-old, at that time 2, and my prosthetic and my bags and my carry-on and my kid and his carry-on, it's a lot. So I can't bring my own wheelchair as much as I want to, because I can't do all the things with my hands free. So I will get mobility services. How many people here have experiences with the grand old third-party owned mobility services at the airports, right? So these are in the airports. There's the people that push the wheelchairs to the gates. They're actually not owned by the airports. They're owned by third parties that pay very minimum wage to people to essentially walk you to and from gates. You get to the airport 2 hours ahead of time, and then sometimes you have to wait at larger airports, and even sometimes at smaller ones, depending how many wheelchairs are being used, or places that you travel that have a high predominance of disabled people, like Florida. You can wait. I've waited 45 minutes for a wheelchair and actually missed a flight because there was no wheelchair available for me. So if you guys are traveling on airlines, I guess my pro tip would be like, make sure you get there way annoyingly ahead of time if you need mobility services to get to your gate. But the other thing was they push you down ramps, right? Like they'll take you to the jet bridge, and they're supposed to push you down backwards, because some of the jet bridges have an angle that is very steep. Well, not everybody is well trained, and not everybody is really paid to think. So I was dumped off the front of my wheelchair down the jet bridge because they took me forward, and I didn't know when I was brand new that was a thing. And thank God I wasn't injured. I felt like I wanted to hide under a rock because it was like so embarrassing already with everybody in the whole place looking at me, right? But make sure that they push you down backwards in the jet bridge. Zach, what do you got?
All right. So we found out, actually my wife, so I was actually nervous right before my amputation, actually right after that, for my first flight, and then we've used it since then. There's a thing called TSA Cares. If you need any assistance through TSA, through mobility, you call TSA 3 days before your flight. If you need any assistance whatsoever, you call them, you tell them what you need. If you have any if you're having wheelchair that you need to be pushed, help with your wheelchair, if you need any assistance with your luggage, anything like that, they will come meet you at the gate or at through the entrance, and they'll actually go through the security with you. They will help you with anything.
And it's part of the TSA program and not the third-party mobility services at the airports?
Correct. It's
well,
through
that's
TSA.
huge.
And so but you have to do it at least 3 days prior to your departure.
Which
Who do
honestly,
you contact?
yeah, TSAcares.com.
TSA Cares.
That's a really, really great tip. And I honestly I didn't even know that. And I am
Neither did I until like my wife found it. And so we've been using it like for like her parents and yeah, whenever we play. Yeah, it's
Yeah, because
been
you know you
amazing.
have one bad experience, and you know we're all out
Mhm.
here with these physical challenges, dealing with the emotional, physical, and financial hardships. You're trying to take a trip. Maybe you're going to a funeral, like you're just trying to live life, and there's like all this undue anxiety because sometimes you have these bad experiences with just being you're it's a let go of control. Someone else is now in charge of your mobility, and that's really uncomfortable
It
when
is.
sometimes there's a language barrier and you can tell that their mood and their energy is bad. And so that is huge. TSAcares.com. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no worries.
Elena, I saw your comment. We have on that YouTube that we have, if you look at our YouTube channel, Less Like More Heart has a whole host of videos, and one is actually all about water and sand and ocean tips and resources and products. So we cover that in one of those YouTube videos. If you take a peek, you can probably just use the search engine. Anybody else got any comments for the questions I asked? We're running out of time, and I know that you guys maybe want some free stuff. I don't know. Do you guys want free stuff? I
Can
like
I
free
give a
stuff.
quick tip
All
right quick?
right. Huh? Yeah,
Can I give another quick tip right quick?
please.
One time I was doing some training, and I was and I'm gonna talk real fast. I was doing some training, and it was a young lady there that had been an amputee since she was like 9 years old. And I gave the tip that if you're trying to put pants on or whatever, and I told them, I made them laugh. I said, I always feel like there's a little hand down there on your shoes holding those pants, trying to get them past a rubber shoe, a sole on a shoe or something. Take a bag that you get from the grocery store and slip it on your shoe, and then when you go to put your pants on a plastic bag, it'll just slide right up your shoe.
And
And
that's
she
the
was
same
just
for your
sitting
sneaker
there.
too.
Yeah, that's exactly what I meant for your sneaker. And she was just sitting there with her mouth open, like I got a car. She was like in almost 30, and she
Yeah.
was sitting there like, I'm been an amputee since I was 9. I've never heard of that. She was
Yep.
like, I can't wait to get off here to call my mom. But yeah, that's a great tip, is to put that plastic. We started off with a trash bag, but it was so big, and then my wife compacted it down to just a grocery store bag over your shoes, and your pants are just slipping. Exactly what Tina said.
Yeah.
Those tennis shoes are almost so unforgiving with trying
That
to put on
plastic
pants.
bag, I'm telling you, I tried to put cowboy boots on for a country concert. I just wanted to feel like, and
Yeah.
I couldn't get it in. And man, I put like a double walled a Target bag. And
Yeah.
he slid right in like the Grinch's tree that he shoved up the
Yeah. So many people have never heard of that, but go ahead. Yeah.
And also zippers and inseams. If you guys want to wear pants and you want to be able to access your prosthetic and also your liner, you could get an itch, you could get like something in it. Zippers and the inseams is huge. It
Yeah,
only
I've
comes
heard
with
of
the
that.
cost.
Yeah.
There's a company out right now that makes the zippers and the pants. If you don't wear designer pants, you can get them at Marshall's or American Eagle or wherever else you get jeans, and you can put zippers in at the seamstress.
Right,
For
right,
cheaper
right,
in
right.
bulk. You can buy them for it. It's just sort of a pro tip. I want to keep talking all night about these Q&As. Actually, we only got through like 7 of the questions of like the 16 or 17 I ended up writing down. So this is exciting because there's a lot of content that we can talk about as a group. If you guys are interested in information, if you've been listening to the things that Craig is saying, I'm saying, anybody here is saying, and you want more information, you just want to be part of something where you're learning constantly, feel free to input your information at lesslikemoreheart.com contact section, amputee in need. A number of you guys already here are. I'm going to start giving some stuff away. But right before I do so, I want to remind everybody that also in that contact section, there's a volunteer section. We have so many opportunities that are remote. Anything from like handling our beneficiary relations to digital marketing, grant writing, community outreach, stewardship for donors, stewardship for volunteers. Like we really have, because we're getting a lot larger, so many opportunities, and the structure internally is really beautiful in the last year compared to prior years as we've built and built and built internally. So if you or anybody that you know wants to give an hour or 10 hours a month, please have them reach out via that form. And also make sure that you visit that YouTube, because there are a lot of things in there that you guys, I think, can benefit from. The first thing I'm going to give away today, and this is a trivia night. So I'm going to ask, there's 5 questions. I'm giving away 5 awesome prizes, and they're questions that are related to amputees. The first person to text it in the chat, the correct answer in the chat, can win. You can win multiple times, but you can only get the first item, or I shouldn't say that. You can only take one item home. So it's kind of like a white elephant, where if you win several times, you can choose which thing you keep and then you can choose which thing you give away, and you get to select who here on the call today, based on their involvement and their participation, gets to have that prize. Anyone that wins the prizes at the end of the meeting, just email me, tina@lesslikemorheart.com, and then I'll get your mailing address and all the information if I don't already have it, and then I can ship you out your prizes, okay? Does everyone understand? Are there any questions about what it is that we're gonna be doing? 5 questions, write it in the chat. You can win multiple times and you can choose somebody to give away to. All right, here we go. Drum roll. I should have had drum roll on a phone. If someone else is good with tech stuff and wants to jump on to really optimize the like fun of this meeting, hit me up. I feel like Zach, you might be good at that. I don't know, hit me up. We can jazz this up, get some like strobe lights or background music, effects, emojis, I don't know. All right, so the first question is, what do Def Leppard drummer Rick Allen, President Kennedy's nephew Ted Kennedy Jr., and race car driver Alex Zanard all have in common? I'm waiting for answers. What do Def Leppard drummer Rick Allen, President Kennedy's nephew Ted Kennedy Jr. Yeah, Katie won. They're all amputees. Katie, you won a $165 I Thrive Signal pain relieving non-drug eluting pain patch that's reusable for up to 365 days.
Holy crap, that's a lot of words.
It's a cool patch that makes you feel good. Woo!
Congratulations.
Yeah, and for all those that don't know, check out signalrelief.com. They're one of our partners. They're very philanthropic. This product sounds gimmicky. I've trialed it and I beta tested it on 7 people with 7 different issues, musculoskeletal issues and phantom pain. And every one of the 7 said that they improved in terms of how they felt. And we don't get a kickback. They just donate to us. So if you guys want another pain relief modality, signalrelief.com. Congratulations, Katie. All right, question number 2. What is the primary cause of the amputation? What is the primary cause of amputation? Is it close?
That's right, Debbie.
Candace, you got it. Candace is right. 55+% of amputations result from vascular disease. Candace, you have won yourself 2 bottles of I Thrive Limb Essential Oil Healing Cream Prosthetic Barrier Cream, both a regular and an extreme that has a menthol to it. Congratulations. This is where we do like an applause, Zach. Okay. Okay. No, like, I mean, like when we do the like background effects. All right. 3rd one, in males, accidents, females, vascular. I don't know. I'd challenge that, Katie. I want to see your info. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I didn't read that. So let me know. Send me your source, they'd say. All right. So 3rd question. This is for CBD salve, Mama's Bear CBD salve, the best on the market. Who else here has tried CBD salve and can attest with a show of hands that it's pretty amazing? Yeah. It's so good. And it's a retail value of like, I don't know, $60 or something. 85% of lower limb amputations are preceded by what? 85% of lower limb amputations are preceded by. Someone's going to say anesthesia. That's a correct answer, but no, that's not the answer. Upper limb. No, good guess. Good guess. Good guess. So I'm going to give you some options then, right? Give you guys 5 seconds to answer. So 85% of lower limb amputations are preceded by what? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I like what you're saying. So I'm going to give you 3 choices. First one to write it in. The first is motorcycle accident. The second is shock. The third is foot ulcer. Yep, Elena, you got it. Foot ulcer. 85% of amputations are actually precipitated by or preceded by a foot ulcer because of vascular disease and diabetes that inhibits the ability to heal. Nailed it. Yeah. You won the CBD salve. Woohoo! Yeah, I get it. Yeah, a lot of people get MRSA that way, and bone infections and osteomyelitis. All right, fourth one. This is for a pair of $90 split ropes. They're adaptive jump ropes that are weighted that allow for people that have limb stuff to get a great cardio workout. If you guys haven't used them, they're amazing. They're made by Equip Products, one of our partners. They're really awesome. How many people a day lose a limb in the United States? A day. How many people lose a limb in the United States every day? I'll give you guys 10 seconds and then I'll give you options. So people are guessing 10 to 1,000, 10,000, 100, 200. I'm going to give you 5 seconds. 5, 4, might as well throw a guess, guys. 3, 2, 1. All right. Is it 150? Is it 507? Is it 890? Which answer is it? For how many people every day? Elena wins again. Elena, 507 people in the United States lose a limb every day. That's 180,000 every year. And by 2050, we're anticipated to have 3.5 million amputees in the country. Zach, you were so close.
Did
But
you say 507 or 70? 570?
507.
507. Okay.
And that was per stats done by the Amputee Coalition. The last time they put them together, I think, was 2014. So I bet it's different, but that's the closest stats that we have. So, all right, Elena, you won again. You get to choose which prize you want and which you're giving away and who you're giving it away to.
I want the CBD mamas stuff. So I don't know this group well enough because I haven't been to this for a really long time. So
Paper, scissors on camera, dude. I mean, I'm open to games.
who
wants it, right? Like
who wants it?
Who wants
Who
the split
wants
roast? Raise your hands. Who wants the
split
split
roast? All right, there's only one. Oh no, there's 2 hands raised. Okay, Zach and Anthony, you have to do rock, paper, scissors.
Best out of 3 or just one?
Best out of 3.
All right, guys. Listen. I don't want anything dirty here. Okay, it's a one.
Give it to Anthony.
It's a 3.
Okay.
No. We're gonna play it fair and square. It's a 3, 2, 1, then shoot. We're not shooting on one, and we're not like waiting to see what the other person throws. All right, gentlemen. Let's have a clean game here. It's a 3, 2, 1, shoot. Are you ready? It's best out of 3. Go. 3, 2, 1, shoot. All right, Zach's got you. You got 2 more. Ready? 3, 2, 1, shoot. All right,
Okay.
3, 2, 1, shoot. All right, Anthony, I'm sorry to say, Mr. Zach, you have won yourself a split rope. And Anthony, just email me. I can get you another one. No big deal. Everyone wins.
That was cheating. Okay. All right. All
You're
right.
like Oprah, and you get the split rope.
Yeah. You get one, and then you get one, and then you get one. Okay. I like
All right,
that.
last question, and then I'm gonna let you guys go. I want to be respectful of your time, and it's already 7:06, and I know we could play all night. So last question is for another signal patch, 365-day patch you can reuse every day that helps pain, really helps pain. The history of prosthetics dates back to what ancient country where wooden and metal prosthetics were used to replace missing limbs? The history of prosthetics dates back to what ancient country? Yes, you got it. It's Egypt. Nice. Nice work. That was a wild answer. I can't believe you
Yeah,
knew that. Did you know that or did you guess? You guessed? Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I'm so excited that you guys spent your evening with me. I had a lot of fun doing this. I kind of love this format compared to some of our educational sessions. So if you guys have feedback about today and you really liked the way that this went, you have tips or suggestions about what you'd like to see, topics you'd like to hear about, things you want to discuss, let me know. I'm open to creating whatever space is the best for our community. And maybe we do like a couple of educations and every third one we do a social like this. You guys tell me what you want. Send me an email, tina@lesslegmoreheart.com. I'd love to hear more from you. I'm so grateful that you're here tonight. And again, email me, tina@lesslegmoreheart.com if you got your prizes. Go to Less Leg More Heart, check out the things that we're doing, check out our YouTube, follow us on social. And most importantly, make sure after leaving here today, you guys leave with your best foot forward. And if I could, just for my purposes, I really want to get a photo, a screenshot if I can. If everyone's here, I don't know if Randy, you're still digging into that bird or what, but if you guys are able to throw up a half a heart on the screen so I can get a really pretty screenshot of this beautiful meeting. Hold on, let me just widen my screen. Oh, I love that. All right, so this is going to be the send out. You ready? It was great to see you guys tonight. Thank you for spending your night with me. I hope you're back next month, same time, same day of the week. Follow our social. We'll send you guys emails. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Good to see everybody.
Good to see you.
Happy New Year. Thank you.
All right.